here at SMITHEE TV in downtown Toronto with the award-winning director Jim Donovan. How does it feel to be nominated for a Canadian Screen Award?
It's pretty awesome to start the year this way. I mean, I have to say I was not expecting it because I had sort of forgotten, as you know, like this year, the Geminis and the Genies kind of like are fused together. Mm-hmm. So when I originally found out that the producers Bill and Anne-Marie had sent the Flashpoint episode to the Geminis, this was like 6 months ago, and quite frankly, I just I had forgotten. I was just coming back from vacation, coming back from Miami. I'm feeling great, it's kind of like doing stuff, and suddenly I start getting like 50 emails. Congratulations. It's like, what? And then I went online and I found out, oh yeah, the Canadian Screen Award. So it's a great surprise. I'm super happy.
Awesome. And what's your favorite part about that episode that you directed for Flashpoint? It's about time.
Yeah, it's a Valentine's Day episode. It was, obviously I had just moved to Toronto from Montreal, mm-hmm. and it was an amazing challenge. It was my first 1 hour dramatic show, like the first 1 hour that I'd ever done for television. So it's kind of cool that one is nominated for a prize.
Yeah.
I think, I also loved the experience of working with the writers who are also the show creators. Mm-hmm. So Stephanie and Mark. And so that was fun to be able to actually, since it was my first show for them, to work with the show creators who had written the scripts. Mm-hmm. So that, because Flashpoint is very much, as you know, like, there's snipers, there's SWAT, there's a lot of military stuff. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's related to the space you're in. So I was able to, like, when I had a question maybe about some kind of issue with the space, be able to call directly the show creators, who better to sort of say, yeah, okay, we can change that, or maybe you should think about this. So it was really collaborative that way. And I got to work with a military advisor too.
Oh.
Yeah, 2 days with a guy who had been to Afghanistan. So that was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, you'll see it if you watch the show.
Awesome. And growing up, you were the designated tour guide in your family for going to Universal Studios. How did that inspire you, or did it inspire you? And how have you grown since then?
Oh, that was a long time ago. I think I've grown a couple feet, but actually it's two things. We used to live in LA when I was a kid, like in the late 70s, early 80s, and so we were from Quebec, right? So, it was like a big deal. My mother and father have a lot of brothers and sisters. So back then, after you've been to like Universal Studios once or twice, you're kind of sick of it. At least they were. So every single uncle and aunt that came would want to go to Universal Studios and see Hollywood, So they would send me. My parents would say, "Okay, Jim, you go." Okay, and then, so I must have been there like 12 times. And back then, my mother used to film everything with a Super 8 camera. So pretty soon, I sort of commandeered the Super 8 camera, and I made my first Super 8 film when I was like 12. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the backstory. Everything has been downhill ever since, but yeah.
And do you think that those visits to Universal influenced your passion?
I mean, when you're a kid and you see this, and I used to go to the movie theater. I used to take the bus, and I remember seeing Star Wars on a big screen the first time it came out. And of course, you've been to the studios and you see how it's done. I mean, it was an awesome time to be exposed to that because I was very young. Mm-hmm. I was also into skateboarding and motocross, and there was a lot of stuff going on. But I mean, if you love film and you've seen it happen, I remember when I moved to Montreal and as a student. Even before going to college, there used to be some film shoots, and I used to just like take the subway down and just check it out and see what they're doing, and behind the yellow tape, and and now it's funny because like when I'm on set downtown or whatever, and I'm looking at people, I mean I'm seeing myself like 25 years ago, so I've always been fascinated by it.
Awesome. And tell me a little bit about your film Trois Saisons, or 3 Seasons. It did amazingly well on the festival circuit, has won many awards, Genies, Geminis. What was that whole process like?
That was a really interesting experience. I mean, that was back in 2010 when we were touring festivals. I mean, we made this film with friends and credit cards. It was like a $35,000 budget, no money whatsoever. And, we really were inspired by the French Nouvelle Vague of the late 60s, like where they used to just like guys like Truffaut or all those French filmmakers would just like, you know, pile a bunch of people into a van and put some equipment back there and go to like some bar and shoot a movie, and then they'd go to Cannes, you know. So we sort of, you know, I've always worked with, you know, friends and this and that. So I just called them up at some point and said, listen, let's not wait 5 years to make another movie. I just made my first film called Pure. I said, let's just go out and make a movie. What do we need? And I, you know, bought a camera, got my DP, Jean-Pierre Gaultier, involved, got some producers involved, an actor, Romano Rossari. He said, do you want to be this character? And it just took off from there. And, you know, when we finished it, I mean, it was pretty cool. I mean, I was happy with the result, but I didn't expect that, you know, we'd go to like 25 film festivals. We won 10 international awards. And I certainly didn't expect to be nominated for Best Picture at the Genies in 2010. I mean, I was flabbergasted. I mean, you know, there were huge films that year, and it proved that, you know, you can make a film with the kind of equipment you guys are using here. It doesn't matter if the story's good. It doesn't matter if it costs $10 million or $10,000 if there's a good concept. So, you know, people will notice. So it was a really great experience for me. It was an eye-opening experience, just kind of throwing me back to my Super 8 days in certain ways, you know. So that was a great experience for sure.
And what do you have coming up next, and what are some of your current projects?
Well, I mean, I just finished work on a show called Cracked, which is an amazing CBC drama. Plays Tuesdays at 9 p.m. And that I'm hoping is going to come back next year. I'm working on projects of my own. I've got a supernatural thriller called The Empyrean, which is kind of like a hitman unknowingly makes a deal with the devil. So it's kind of cool script that I'm shopping. And I've got on the television side, I've got a comedy called Shucked, which is kind of like a relationship comedy in an oyster bar. So if you cross like Californication with Cheers, that you'd sort of get shucked. So we're going to probably shoot some improv and shoot some stuff for the web and see where it goes. So those are some of the projects I'm doing right now.
Great. And what advice would you give to a young aspiring director?
You know, directing is a lot about what you bring to the process, what your value is in terms of your input and what you bring to enrich the content, the experience of the viewer. I mean, today in 2013, there are billions of options if you're interested in seeing something. There's YouTube, there's all sorts of user-generated content, all sorts of web series. I think, you know, like the first step, you know, read, consume, be inhabited by all sorts of stories and things that matter to you, and then go out and do it, because more than ever, I mean, if you can shoot and you can edit and you teach yourself how to do it, then it really just becomes about your own voice. It becomes about your vision. And I think that's critical. That's where you become a director. I think it's no longer sufficient to be able to just make a piece of film or a piece of video. I think it's more about what you bring to it, what your soul is. Same with music, same with literature, all the...
Right.
Yeah.
And where's the best place to find out more information on you and your work online?
www.jimdonovan.tv. That's DONOVAN.tv, and that's where I put that's my portfolio site. So, and you can send me emails there too.
Great, it's a very pretty site. I checked it out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations, and have an amazing time at the CSAs.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Katie Uhlmann reporting for Katie Chats here at SMITHEE TV in downtown Toronto.